Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. This is part 2 of The Princess of Prince Street. In this chapter, Princess takes Ignatious on a tour of the town on their way to her favorite spot, Victoria Park. Along the way, she takes him to a restaurant, by a large church, and introduces him to a friend. When they arrive at the park, they meet some other dogs. Let's see what happens. The Princess of Prince Street, Part 2. I must really apologize again for my friends. They really are nice once you get to know them, Princess said as they were walking to the sidewalk. Well, it's no big deal. I'm just happy to have the chance to make a new friend, Ignatious quietly replied. So, where are we off to? I thought I might take you on a walk to the largest park in town, Princess said with her tail wagging, which, when she was as excited as she was, now caused her whole body to shake. It's called Victoria Park, and it has paths through trees, lots of grassy fields to roll on, tennis courts where we can watch the balls bounce, an ice cream stand where sometimes you can get some free ice cream, and a splashing pool. Though the splashy pool I don't usually visit until the very end, Princess added. Why at the end? Asked Ignatious curiously. Well, we dogs aren't actually allowed in the pool. Humans only, apparently. One time a lady got upset at me once for not reading some sign that said no dogs allowed. I just wagged my tail, because I haven't learned to read yet. Ignatious smiled. So each time I go in and splash, the kids are always overjoyed and laughing, but the adults get scared and chase me away, Princess finished with a sigh. Ah, yes, humans can sometimes act pretty strange, said Ignatious. My owners won't even let me roll around in the mud. They don't like me to get dirty. Like getting dirty is a bad thing or something, he added. Princess laughed as they started walking towards the crosswalk. They stopped at the crosswalk. They were, after all, very smart dogs, and waited for the walk signal before crossing the street. Then they looked both ways before stepping on the street. Princess knew that island drivers are always very nice, but it's wise to be extra careful in case someone driving a car makes a mistake. Their first stop was the seafood restaurant in a small wooden house across from the park. The windows were covered in all kinds of pictures of delicious food, like lobster, fish, and shrimp. This is my favorite restaurant on the street, said Princess, with more than a little bit of drool dripping from her mouth. Their garbage cans are by far the stinkiest, and full of all kinds of wonderful-smelling spoiled food. I'm not a seafood person myself, said Ignatious as they both spent time smelling around the garbage cans. But I do agree that this smells great. Do the owners ever give you something to eat? No, not usually, said Princess. But Tom the waiter will sometimes come outside on break and give us dogs some water and leftover biscuits. He likes to scratch the back of my ears, which I like, Princess said, while finding something particularly delicious smelling at the back of one garbage can. Breaking herself from the scent, she said, Are you ready to continue on our way? Yes, let's go, said Ignatious, tired of the smell of seafood. As they slowly made their way up Prince Street, they walked past a number of old wooden houses, said hello to Jester, a Labrador mix who was always tied outside under a tree by the pink apartment building, and stopped to smell a bag that was dropped on the sidewalk. Ignatious gave it a smell and said, "Yuck, tuna fish sandwich. Definitely not my favorite." "Not mine either," Princess said, "but I'm going to pick up this bag and put it in the garbage. It helps to keep our neighborhood clean." Princess carefully picked up the paper bag containing the sandwich and placed it in the nearby garbage can as they continued on their way. It was a quiet time of day when they were walking, as most humans were working in the various offices that were scattered about the city. There wasn't much traffic and only a few people walking on the sidewalks. No one took much notice of the two dogs out walking without their owners. As they passed the great church that rose up high on the corner across from where they were walking, Princess pointed out that the church often put bowls full of water on the steps for dogs that might be thirsty. Princess told Ignatious as they stopped to look at the church about how many businesses put bowls of water outside their door for dogs to drink when they were out walking. Humans can be very kind. "Okay," Princess said, "we are going to turn left here and up this street that leads toward the park. It's one of my favorite places in the city." "Why is that?" Ignatious asked. "Well, in the summer they close off the street from traffic so that everyone, dogs included, can walk safely on the street," she said. "Oh, this looks so nice. I haven't experienced anything like this in Toronto, except for maybe the boardwalk," Ignatious replied. "Our city is pretty special," Princess said. "We have a boardwalk that follows the waterfront, but I prefer to walk through the city, as the smells are so much more varied." The dogs walked up towards Victoria Row, passing the sounds of the bowling alley, the people sitting on park benches eating a snack, and others working with their laptops outside a cafe. As they walked, they approached a man sitting on the side of the street. Princess beckoned towards Ignatious, whose attention had been diverted at the sight of someone eating French fries at a table. French fries were one of his favorite treats. "Come, Ignatious, I want to introduce you to one of my best human friends. Whenever I go out for a walk, I always stop and say hello to Simon." Princess barked a hello to Simon, who responded with a scratch and rub of her head. He then pulled a surprise from his jacket, a dog biscuit, proceeded to break it in two, giving one half to Princess and the other half to Ignatious. "I often sit here with Simon when I am out walking," she said to Ignatious. "He doesn't seem to have many friends, and he sits here all day, so I like to come and spend time with him as much as I can." "That's nice of you," said Ignatious. "Why doesn't he have many friends?" "I'm not really sure," Princess said with a sad expression in her eyes. "I know he sits here all day, and he has said he has nowhere to go. Being a dog, I can't really help him, but we are friends, and me sitting here with him seems to make him happier." Ignatious sat with Simon for a while, watching people walk by, taking short naps, and enjoying lots of rubs. After a while, Princess got up, stretched, gave Simon a lick on the nose, and said to Ignatious, "We should continue on our way before it gets too late. If we stay too long sitting with Simon, I won't be able to show you the park before I have to go home." Ignatious said goodbye to Simon, and onward they went. They walked by a theater, a library, and an art gallery. Both Princess and Ignatius loved the painting of a flying dog and a rabbit in the art gallery's window. They continued their walk past a coffee shop with the strange smells of roasting beans, sneezed a little bit, and continued until they came to a large group of concrete buildings just across the street from a small park. "We don't want to walk in there amongst those tall buildings," warned Princess. "Why?" asked Ignatius. "I mean, they aren't very attractive, but it seems pretty safe and clean." "Well, the security guard that walks around the outside of the building seems cranky all the time and doesn't like seeing dogs very often," she continued while keeping an eye out for the security guard. "One time when I was out for a walk with my owners, he got upset at them for taking me through the buildings as we were on our way to the park. I didn't understand what my owner and the security guard said, but we haven't walked through there since." "Well, it's best to avoid it then," he replied. "I don't want to make anyone upset, especially since we are having so much fun on this sunny day." And they continued to walk a short way, side by side, until they got to the park. "Wow, this really is a nice view," Ignatius said as they walked along the boardwalk that surrounded the park. "Yes, my owners sometimes take me for walks along here at sunset. It's very beautiful." "The harbor reminds me a lot of Toronto, without the tall buildings, of course," Ignatius said as he looked out over the calm water. "Yes, there aren't many tall buildings in this city," Princess said with a smirk. "There's the main field of the park over there, and the tennis court, and the ice cream stand, and the woods. Let's run over," she said excitedly. Ignatius and Princess quickly ran across the street, looking both ways first out of habit, since there were no cars allowed in this part of the park, and made their way to the main field to play. As they started to chase each other, roll on their backs, jump up and down, and generally act goofy, they saw in the distance a group of dogs approaching. It was Sarge and the gang. Ignatius stopped playing and said, "Uh-oh, I hope they are not angry at me for some reason." "No, don't be silly," Princess said with a half smile. Sarge trotted over first and gave Princess the customary sniff greeting and walked stiffly towards Ignatius. Ignatius was nervous and expected the worst. Sarge was such a big dog and looked so serious. Would he be angry at me, he thought. "Now look here, Ignatius," Sarge said. "I have something I want to say to you." Ignatius swallowed hard and got ready to run. "I want to apologize for being so unfriendly earlier today. I made a mistake, and I was wrong to judge you without first getting to know you," Sarge said in an apologetic tone. Just then Lulu and Pepper came over, tails wagging, and said in almost unison, "Yeah, do you think you can forgive us and give us a chance to be your friend?" "Yeah," Mickey, Lucy, and Otto said together. "Can we hang out together and play in the field?" Ignatius, visibly relieved, said, "Of course, don't worry about it." And they all played until it was time to get home before their owners did. And that's the end of this chapter. Good night. Sleep tight.